Welcome to Lesson 2 in Unit 4, Seeing, Hearing, Smelling, and Touching Like a Scientist. In this lesson, students will answer the question, what makes Spencer a scientist? Students will meet Spencer in the book Spencer and the Rocks, and they're going to use his experience throughout the book and their own experience observing rocks to start practicing what scientists do. In this specific lesson, they're going to model the rock, and they're also going to ask questions about the rocks, just like scientists do in the scientific process. In the Engage portion of this lesson, you will read the book Spencer and the Rocks. There's a read-aloud guide found in the teacher pages that will guide you through pages 1 through 12 of this book. We will finish the rest of the book a little later in this lesson. After you read the book to your students, ask them the question, how is Spencer like a scientist? What is Spencer doing that makes him like a scientist? Challenge students to use evidence from the text when they answer your questions. After you finish reading the book, complete a Kwl chart with the class, asking students what they know about rocks and what they wonder about rocks. We'll complete the what students learned about rocks at the very end of this lesson. In a later lesson, students will complete an investigation to discover which type of rocks sink and what type of rocks float. While you're discussing the Kwl chart, plant the seeds for this lesson by wondering aloud to the class, I wonder if all rocks sink, or I wonder if all rocks float. Hopefully a student will ask that question, but if not, this is a great chance for you to model wondering and asking questions about a topic. In the Explore portion of this lesson, students are going to make observations about rocks. You will find 30 assorted rocks and minerals in your kit, but students can also bring these rocks from home. In the student journal, you will find the page My Rock Looks Like observation sheet. Have students draw a model of their rock on the top part of this page. It may be helpful to draw a model in front of the whole class before students start doing this individually. In the Explain portion of this lesson, you'll ask students to apply certain words to their rock. You're going to ask them what do they notice about their rock, and you'll challenge them to describe properties of their rock. Words like shiny, light, dull, smooth, heavy, and rough are all words you can display on the board and have students fill out in their handout if they're ready for it. Don't worry about having students try to apply all of these words to their rock. Have them focus on the one word that best describes their rock. In the Elaborate portion of this lesson, you will finish reading Spencer and the Rocks. A read-aloud guide for the second half of this book can be found in the teacher pages. Use this read-aloud guide as you continue to have the conversation with your students. How is Spencer like a scientist? Feel free to reference the scientific process poster that you went over with students in Lesson 1. This is also a great time to go back to our design challenge and ask students, did Spencer teach us anything about how to design an investigation about rocks? For the Evaluate portion of this lesson, you will ask students, what are some things you did like a scientist today? What makes Spencer a scientist? Feel free to reference the scientific poster that you had in Lesson 1 or the What Scientists Do page in Lesson 1. By the end of this lesson, students have gone through some of the parts of the scientific process. Using their rocks, they've asked questions, they've made observations, and they've developed models for their rocks, just like Spencer did.